Welcome to episode 5 of Three Blind Vikes. Usually it's three Viking fans who have no idea what they're going to talk about for an hour. We just run blindly through the show. But tonight we have a fourth and a wonderful guest host with us. Lindsey will be here with us for a little while tonight. Quick intro on Lindsey. Graduated from the University of Northwestern St. Paul. She started out with Viking Territory, I believe.
I did.
Freelanced a little bit with the T-Wolves and the Lynx. And you are now in, I can't believe you're here. This is your 10th year.
Me neither. It's crazy.
10 years.
So awesome.
Yeah. Time has seriously flown.
One of my favorite Twitter follows, always positive, always just very upbeat, and a big advocate of mental health, which we will talk about in a little while. Lindsey, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me on. This is super fun. I love your logo and just the idea. It's super fun. And yeah, I can't believe it's my 10th season already. Like, it always gets a little bit wonky because I started like towards the end of 2015. So I'm always like 10th season, 9th full season. But yeah, I'm excited to join you guys, and I feel like it's a good time to chat some Vikings.
It's always a good time to chat Vikings when they win. When they lose, but we're happy to start the season with a win.
Yes.
Let's get right into it. We had a great performance Sunday. 28-6 was the final.
Beautiful.
Everything clicked.
Yeah.
We had Sammy Darnold, and I don't like to call him kind of a game manager. I would he because he's not a game manager, but he controlled the game.
He did.
He was a game controller.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones getting us a rushing touchdown, something the Vikings had not seen in quite a while. And the defense, I've been calling it this, and I don't care if anybody else follows me in calling it this. The hustle and B-flow defense.
Love it.
They
were lights out. Like, they played so well. It was awesome.
They played
Maverick
so
is
well.
here. Skull Maverick.
Woo!
Hey, Maverick.
Welcome.
It was pretty impressive. We didn't get to watch all of it because we were doing
Playing baseball.
That's our life. But we did watch all of the highlights and literally every single highlight video we could get our hands on. And it was so awesome to see. I mean, I'm a big defense person. So, like, I love watching it when the defense is good. And this was a game for the defense.
I'm the same way, Cora. Like, I honestly prefer, like, even if I'm watching the Super Bowl, like, I'm fine with the lower scoring games. I like seeing, I really am. I like seeing the defenses battle it out. But it was so fun to see them do well. So I didn't travel to this game. My manager, Craig Peters, and I, we divvy up the road games. So he was in New York. I was covering it remotely from home. So I was watching the game from my couch and watching the same broadcast as everybody else. But I thought that they did so well. And I think my favorite part was just seeing, like, all of the new additions to the team, specifically free agent additions, like how well they did. Whether it was, like John mentioned, Aaron Jones or Sam Darnold. Like, I thought Sam played incredibly and, like, was really quick, which was fun to see.
Well, and I remember saying or hearing a few things in the beginning of the season where everyone's like, you have to not, like, think so lowly of Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Like, everyone is thinking, like, oh, he's garbage, blah, blah, blah. He's going to the Vikings and, you know, he's not going to be very good. And everyone's like, he was a first-round draft pick. Mm-hmm. He is good. Like, he was one of the best athletes coming out of high school. He was one of the best athletes coming out of the draft. Like, he just kind of had crap situations that he was put in. And, like, not everyone, a lot of, like, you know, Luke Braun and people on Vikings Twitter are like, don't think too poorly of Sam Darnold. And so I was brainwashed from the beginning to think that, like, he's going to be way better than everyone thinks. And I'm happy they brainwashed.
I mean, I think that the biggest thing is, honestly, I think whenever you bring a player in to a new team and a new system and, like, It's a fresh start, change of scenery. I think anything can happen. But with Sam, I think you're right. Like, he's always been a really good quarterback, but like now he has tools around him. He just has a different system. And that's not even to like knock teams he was with before, but like this just feels like a good fit. Also, I don't think you can write off the fact that he was with the Niners last season. And I know he was a backup for them, but just like learning in that system and that offense and like in that quarterback room, I think is huge. So to go from there and then step into here, and when you have the offensive players like we have right now to support, huge.
I know.
Yeah, his last two coaches are big quarterback coaches, so that couldn't hurt him at all.
Exactly.
The ginger gunslinger was red hot on Sunday.
Yep. I was really impressed with the way he was able to just always seem to find the open guy. There was a lot. I felt like he played a lot of zone defense, cover two, and he picked them apart. It was, in my opinion, it was between KOC's play calling and Darnold's ability to read the defensive drops.
He had 8 different receivers on Sunday. So
yeah.
Spread the ball around, something we really need to see with this team.
Right.
Who was my key player last week? Mr. Oliver.
There you go.
Was he one of those receivers?
He was one of those receivers.
Heck yeah.
And who was my X factor last week? His initials may be average, but that pick six wasn't.
Okay, so I re-listened to it before. I re-listened to all of our key players before this, and you're like, I think he could bat down a few. Andrew Van Ginkel, like, he's really good. He could bat down a few. He's going to make a big splash, and he might get a pick six. And I'm like, John's got to be high.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Also, like so in the locker room the other day, we did a media scrum with Harrison Smith, and they were asking him about his game and everything, of course, but then they were also asking him about Andrew Van Ginkel and the play that he had, but just overall, like, his impressions of him. And listening to Harrison talk about Andrew and just like how impressed he is with him and just the type of player he is. Like, that's so cool to hear from someone like Harrison, who's obviously played with a lot of good defensive players. And like, he just was like waxing eloquently on this guy. So, I know that Van Ginkel was like hurt for a little bit. And so it's really cool just to see him like having a huge game. Also, just what him and his family went through this summer with like the flooding down in their hometown. Like, it was so cool to see him have such a big day.
And he looks like a Viking, an actual Viking.
Yeah, he belongs.
Like, this is the correct team for him.
Yeah.
I think so.
Him and Hawkinson.
Yeah. Yes.
This is the correct team for them.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just overall happy with everybody's performance. I love to watch KOC do his locker room.
That was incredible.
Yes.
How about 5 game balls and 4 of them went to new players?
One of the best things about that, like, it's like, okay, these players are like hitting their stride, like they're meshing right away. And to have such big performances on the road too, that was my favorite part, is the fact that 4 of the 5 went to new players.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I just think he brings a sense of unity to that locker room as a head coach, that these guys want to be there. They're kind of there for each other. We've seen it time and time again since he's been here, and I really, really like that.
Yeah,
I felt that almost, while those 4 guys really did deserve those game balls, it's almost like, hey, let's let the new guys know that we appreciate them being here by giving them the game ball.
Totally. And how can you not want to run through a brick wall after his speeches?
I was just going to ask, do the players want to run through a brick wall as much as the fans want to run through a brick wall?
Right. I mean, like, I'm not in there during those speeches, but like, I just feel like they're so good. They get people like so hyped up. I usually don't, like, after a win, I usually don't watch the locker room speech until I'm like done with everything, have like kind of unplugged for the night, go home, and then watch it. And like, it just kind of like puts a cap on the night and a good win. Yeah, it's great.
Well, how about let's get into our 3 stars of the game. We'll make it 4 tonight because we have a 4th person. And Lindsey, as our guest, we will let you pick your 1 player. Everybody gets to pick 1, but we can't pick the same player. So who would you pick as your star of the game?
There are so many good choices. But honestly, like, even if we hadn't have just talked about him, I would have said Van Ginkel, I think. I feel like even if you throw out the pick 6, just like he was all over the field. Mm-hmm. He had made stops before then. Yeah.
Van Ginkel. I'm like, holy smokes.
Right.
He's everywhere.
He was everywhere. Like, just, he's always like finding a way to be near the ball. I think he had an existing knowledge of and relationship with Coach Flo, but like, I just think here in Minnesota with his system, like, it just got me. I think his performance got me like the most excited about this season, like probably between him and Sam. But like you and I said, Cora, like, I love watching the defense, and so that would be my star of the game.
Excellent. Well, we'll stick with the ladies. Cora, pick yours.
I was gonna go with Van Ginkel. Obviously, I feel like he might have had like the best performance, but I'm gonna go with Sam Darnold because it's an obvious one. He did really good. They had mistakes in the beginning, and then they didn't let it bother them.
Yeah,
they just kept going and kept moving, and the fumbles were just kind of, or the fumble on CJ Ham, like the second fumble in like 200 receptions or something like that. They didn't let it bother them, and they just kept trucking along, and they kept going. And like, I feel like in years past it might have put a damper on the whole first quarter, or even maybe the first half. But like, honestly, you couldn't even tell.
You kind of forgot about it. Like, yeah. Like, it happened and they just moved on.
Yeah. I definitely felt an overwhelming sense of dread the first quarter, the beginning. And I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. This is going to be a miserable year. And like, honestly, it was awesome. It was great to see him just like put it behind him and make plays.
Yeah.
And like, find Jefferson. Like, what was it? A 99.5-yard drive?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
They were just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. No big deal.
Yeah.
I think it speaks to his experience and his veteran ability.
Yes.
Is that he's been put in a ton of crappy situations.
So true.
Dug himself out of dirt. And now let's dig yourself out, but instead of using your hands, we'll give you a shovel and here's a wheelbarrow, and
that is a good analogy.
You don't have to do it just by yourself.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's a great analogy for sure.
It's definitely a fresh start for Sam. I'm so happy for him.
Me too.
I hope, he's got a big task next week, but he doesn't seem to be fazed by anything right now.
Yeah. I agree.
No way. I like him when he was at USC.
Danzy,
all right, Danny, who was your star?
Okay.
Who was your star?
Well,
you can't pick.
I'm torn between 2. So I want you to go first, just in case you pick one of mine.
Oh, sure. No, I have to go first. All right, I'm gonna go with our revenge tour running back this week, Aaron Jones. 94 yards on 14 carries.
Yeah.
The touchdown run. As soon as he got the ball in his hands, I said he's in.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I said that about one of our running backs getting a handoff inside the 5, but he took it, and it's like he's got the corner. He has got the corner. They're not going to stop him. He just took it right in. Really hard runner. Health has always been his issue. Let's hope he stays healthy. But to add 94 yards on the ground, a nice balanced offense, we really need that. We needed that. I liked Alexander Madison a lot. But he just wasn't an RB1. He was a second back, and I think they gave him something he couldn't handle, and it devalued him in Minnesota. Maybe I'm glad to see him. He had a touchdown this week with the Raiders, and I hope he does well there. But Aaron Jones is really, I mean, I'm so glad to have him. I love Revenge Tour Packers in Minnesota. Let me tell you.
Packers game.
It is so fun. I'm with you, John. The Revenge Tour is fun. But he's just an awesome human too. So like just adding him to like this community and seeing all the stuff that all the good that he's going to do here in the Twin Cities. And like, I always admired Aaron Jones from afar when he was in Green Bay, because I could just tell that he was a good person and like really cared about the fans and cared about like doing things in that community. And so to have him on our side, like best case scenario.
And have sombrero sales risen in the Twin Cities area.
I'm gonna have to look into that. Can't say I've seen a sombrero spreadsheet lately, but
they better get them in the Vikings gift shop very soon.
Right.
Danny, now
all right. You didn't make it easier on me.
Wow. Okay.
So my two, I don't know if I can pick one. The two that I have are the offensive line and KOC.
Okay.
So my X factor to this last game was the offensive line, and they dominated the defensive line. Sam Darnold had the third longest time to pass in the entire NFL at 2.7 seconds.
Wait. Say that again.
Yeah.
Is that real?
Is that real? His time to pass.
Incredible.
His average time to pass is 2.7 seconds.
Wow.
The third longest in the NFL.
I guess maybe that's wow. I feel like we've always been on the shortest end.
Pro Football Focus for the Vikings had 3 of the offensive line in the top 5.
Blake had an incredible game.
Yeah.
And so it's like I can't discredit that, but then KOC's ability, like play calling on offense, and then the ability to prepare this modge podge of players to get ready for this game, and then come out and call it, and everyone perform and deliver is, I mean, hats off to KOC and getting that done.
I'm gonna throw out a hot take really quick. I was going to do it at the end, but I'm going to say it in the beginning. Going off of the offensive line, and I don't mean any hate to Kirk Cousins, but I feel like and I've said this about Sam Darnold, it's so hard for a quarterback not to come into this offense and not succeed and to not do well. I mean, we've had like Josh Dobbs come in and like surprise everyone and be on the NFL Twitter page. And then we had Nick Mullins come in and like have amazing numbers. And Kirk Cousins coming in was a really good quarterback. And I think our offense made him a great quarterback. So even if Sam Darnold comes in being a good quarterback, I think our offense could make him seem great. And I think anyone coming into this offense has everything they need to be great. Not that Kirk Cousins also wasn't good, but I think we're discrediting the offense, especially last year when we were talking about, Kirk Cousins is like the everything of the offense. I think it discredits everything that the offense is, and the offense has a part of it.
It's a really good point.
Yeah, well, I like that Dan brought up the offensive line, to be honest, because going into that game, there was like so much talk about Dexter Lawrence, and like, as there should be, like he is an extremely, extremely good player. But I felt like he was a problem for like 1 or 2 plays early on. And then all of a sudden he just wasn't. Like it was fixed, it was handled. And I think that goes both to the play calling and to just the offensive line's adjustments or whatever they had to do. But like, that was huge in that game, because if Sam doesn't have time to throw, like we're not having the same conversation.
Well, and it wasn't like, it was like CJ Stroud had like a 2.68 time to throw, but his were all scrambles. Darnold didn't have to scramble that much.
No.
So like he had 2.7 seconds in the pocket.
Yeah.
Again, that's how you throw to 8 different receivers when you have time to go through your progressions.
Right. Yeah.
That's how you throw a perfect basket catch over the shoulder to Jefferson down the sideline for 44 yards.
Yeah.
So good.
From your own end zone. It's just
From your own end zone, yeah. when you've got 3 seconds to throw the ball, yeah.
You better be able to find someone.
I think, and there are even more players we could have brought up. Byron Murphy had a really good game.
Yeah.
Patrick Jones, who, when they drafted him, I was really excited, and it's taken him a while, so it was nice to see him have a good game as well.
I think it's a true testament to the cornerbacks when you have to go look and see how their game is to figure out if they did well, because
that's a good point.
It wasn't like, oh, this quarter or like nail or the oh my gosh, I can't even think of their wide receivers. Oh, he just made a 50-yard catch on Gilmore. He just made a 20-yard catch on Murphy. You didn't hear from them.
Right.
And I think that's like a true testament on like the fact that they were doing really well.
Yeah.
ESPN has Minnesota pass defense ranked number 1 right now. ESPN Fantasy. So we were looking at
Let's go.
So I have Brock Purdy as one of my fantasy quarterbacks, and Minnesota defense is ranked number 1 against pass defense or pass.
That's awesome.
We need that to continue this week.
Right.
And speaking of this coming week, we aren't playing the Giants this week. Now, I know the Giants are a professional football team. The Giants are not the 49ers. No one will ever mistake them for being the 49ers. Who do we have as our X factors? We know, like, the guys who we talk about all the time. Everybody take an X factor. Who's your one X factor? It doesn't have to be a player. Could be something else. Lindsay, again, as our guest, what's your X factor for this week's game for success for her?
Can Cora go first? I need like 3 seconds to think about this.
Yeah, Cora can go first.
Can I do 2? They're the same position.
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm gonna do Murphy.
Okay.
Because we're gonna need more shutdown corners, and Gilmore can kind of shut down his side, and he has the talent, he has the name, he has the everything. Whether or not he's going to perform to that, but he's still in an intimidation factor. Murphy is not as much. So I think the X factor is going to be him, because if they're probably going to target him over Gilmore. And so I'm going to say he's our X factor this week.
So you got Murph. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Lindsay, you had your 3 seconds.
Yep, I decided on one. I was kind of going back and forth. I'm going to actually go with Blake Brandel for a couple of reasons. I think partially because overall, I think the offensive line is going to have a huge task this game. But I think with Blake just being one of the less experienced guys on the team, I think he had a really great game against the Giants, like to start off the season well. And I think the interior of the line is going to, like I said, really the whole offensive line, but like, can Blake really hold his own, help protect Sam, help keep that 49ers front at bay? If so, like, I think that's going to show up, and I think it's going to be hugely impactful for Sam. So I'll go with Blake for my X factor.
Brenda, very good.
It's a good one.
All right, Danny.
Mine's more of a position. Outside linebackers.
See, now that's a cop-out, because we wouldn't let Cora take multiple players.
I picked one.
That is true. That is true.
Right.
You got to pick one.
Turner.
Okay.
I think Turner's got to be an X factor. I think we've got to find a way. If CMC plays,
if he plays,
it's going to be we got to find a way to contain him inside. We got to take away the short flat passes that he somehow gets 20 yards on. And I think we got to find a way to contain him. And I think that comes down to our outside linebackers covering those sweeps over the C gap or kind of the short swing passes outside.
And honestly, even if Christian McCaffrey doesn't play, like they're playing Debo at running back, basically.
Right.
So, like, I mean, yeah, I think Dallas is a good one.
Well, they plug and play all their positions anyway. They put a kid in last time who was undrafted and ran all over the Jets.
What's his last name? Initials are J&M. What was the running back that played last night?
For the Niners last
Yeah,
night?
he had a really good game.
Well, now I'm showing how closely I paid attention after like halftime.
Yeah, exactly.
I got tired, you guys.
It was not a fun
Jordan
game.
Mason.
Jordan
Okay.
Mason. Yeah.
Yep. He had a really good game.
Again,
I mean-
they're plug and play. They can just. I don't think the people matter as much as their scheme.
The Niners offense is scary.
Yeah.
Like it is going to be tough.
I feel like they're. So I am a delusional fan, and I did I did our record, and I had us going 12-5. I'm going to stand by it. I'm thinking we can do it, but I did have us losing these next 2 games because the 49ers they're a beast to be reckoned with.
I think
they're going to be tough. Yeah. They're going to be tough.
One thing I will say is it's going to come down to our offensive preparation and how we pick apart their defense.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to get as much zone look as we did with the Giants. And then it comes down to how well do Addison and Naylor perform? Are they able to get open and off of their guys? Are they able to get separation and give themselves a chance to get passes? Because I think we'll see JJ shut down for the first quarter. He might come out of the first half with 3 catches. But if our 2 and 3 receivers don't get production in the first half, it'll just continue in the second half, and then we're dependent on our run game.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, they're going to score more than 6 points.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're going to get it.
You have to plan. You have to plan on that, right? And like, I don't think that's being negative. That's just like being realistic about like how good their offense is, and so having to be just ready for that.
I'll pick mine quick because I know Lindsay has to go, and I know I want to let her at least talk about her. I'm going with Striker, our kicker.
Yes. I love that.
Will's gonna get a chance to play his first actual important home game. We know our kicker woes over the last couple of years. Greg Joseph was actually great inside of 40 yards. It was beyond 40 where we struggled. And for whatever reason, he couldn't kick extra points. I think he made his extra points harder on himself, quite honestly. I don't know why he used to always kick from the hash marks and make it harder. Just put the ball in the center of the field and kick it. But that's me. I don't kick. I'm not in the NFL. Yeah, I think Will is going to have to be important in this game because I think the Niners defense will bend and not break. So when they bend and don't break, we've got to get points out of it. We've got to hang with them. They kicked 6 field goals themselves last night to win that game.
Yeah.
So last week, who do you think was our winner for the X Factor? And then we'll let Lindsay speak here.
Who was the winner for the X Factor?
Oh, wait.
Oh, I was going to say, well, did John pick Van Ginkel as the X Factor?
I was trying to point at John, but I was pointing at the direction that he is on my screen.
That is confusing. That's like
baby. He's not average. He's not your average linebacker. And so I lead 1-0. We're having a contest. We're going to give a prize.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah, we got the first winner. You are.
Lindsay, we thank you for your time. We wanted to let you talk though. Important topic here. Mental health awareness. You are so big of an advocate there. Tell us about it. I mean, just tell us about your work with mental health.
Yeah. Well, I do like this has been really fun, and I do appreciate you guys wanting to chat football with me, but also wanting to chat about these other things that matter to me too. And you know, I think if people have followed my work, hopefully they've gotten to see the Getting Open series that we started back in 2021. It's crazy that it's been that long already. But I guess in just a nutshell, you know, mental health challenges have been a part of my story. I don't view them like as my story. I don't think that they identify or determine who I am, but like they're definitely a part of who I am. And so prior to the pandemic, I hadn't talked much about it publicly. Like it certainly wasn't a secret that I have dealt with an anxiety disorder for a lot of my life, but just wasn't something I spoke about publicly. And then after going through some really difficult times mentally during the pandemic, really kind of when I came out on the other side of that, per se, really wanted to figure out a way to help encourage other people. And so like, I wouldn't be able to do it without guys on the team and the organization, and not just guys either. Like doing something with Eric Kendrick's wife, Allie, was incredible. We've had a few other people, but just people who are willing to share their stories, I think, is huge. And like, I would never want to push anyone to share their story around mental health, whether it's anxiety, depression, OCD, whatever it might be. We've done some stuff on postpartum and those challenges. So, I was 33 before I shared my story publicly, so would never want to push people. But I do hope that like by some of us sharing our stories, we can just remind people that they're not alone. Like, I don't know that it always makes people feel better, or, it doesn't necessarily make their challenges go away. But if they can say like, hey, I resonate with that, or like, that's someone else who just articulated the way that I've been feeling. Like, there's definitely that idea of feeling you're not by yourself in this. Like, other people are going through it, or other people have gone through it and now gotten better, or kind of, seen things in a better light. And so that's really important to me. And I've really appreciated connecting with, Vikings fans, or there have been fans of other teams that have reached out to you and just said, like, it was cool to hear some of your players' stories. So I think it's really important to talk about. And, this month is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. And specifically this week is Suicide Prevention Awareness Week. So like, the timing of being able to join you guys and, like I said, talk football, but talk about some of this stuff as well is really aptly timed. And so, yeah, I just hope that everybody, whether it's checking out the Getting Open series, or just talking to a friend, or reaching out to someone if you need support, I think is huge. Because, life is hard. The world is really hard right now. I know, right? What? And like, I think that's part of the reason, like, sometimes that people pour themselves into sports teams, because it's something fun and it's something like really great to be unified on. And so, yeah, like, let's connect with one another. Let's be real about things that are hard and real about things that are great, and just have those conversations, I think, is really important.
I thank you for being an advocate. I know I have personal experience with people who have struggled with anxiety disorder, and it's not fun. You can't imagine when somebody has bad anxiety, how it affects them. You from the outside, you wonder, how can somebody have this kind of anxiety over something this minor?
Yep.
So I get it. I've seen it happen personally. So I thank you for all you do. We are glad to help you in any way we can. We hope people do reach out. We may not be therapists, but we have 2 ears, so we're here to listen.
Exactly.
Listen to anybody who's going through stuff. So again, thank you for speaking out on this topic today. It's very important. Again, we loved having you to talk Vikings, but I definitely wanted you to get your message out there today, and we appreciate it.
Oh, thank you guys. Yeah. That means
I know
the
you've
world.
got one. I know you've got some work to do. You are welcome back anytime.
I appreciate it, you guys. Well, I'm definitely going to have to keep an eye on our X Factors this game and see if I get a point.
We're coming up with a trophy for this. We're trying to design it now. Maybe I'll have my daughter design it. She's the one who did the logo. So.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
The X with the, I don't know.
Yeah, but it can't look too much like X because
look
Elon will be breathing out on X.
Yeah.
The website that was previously called Twitter.
Yes.
What if? Okay.
Lindsay, thank you again. I know you have to run.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great night, and we will talk to you. Well, we'll see you out in the Twitterverse, but
we will holler at you if we ever see you again.
Yeah.
We know you.
Thank you guys so much. Have the best night.
Good night, Lindsay.
All right. Bye.
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 That was great. She was awesome.
That was excellent.
I love having Lindsay on.
I love her. I love all of her stuff too. She's a delight. I think she's either been nominated or won like the nicest person on Vikings Twitter. And every single time she's nominated, I think she's like, you guys, I'm a Vikings content person. I'm so appreciative, but you don't need to nominate me.
That's exactly why you won.
That's why you're the nicest person.
Yeah.
I nominate her every year for
I think I do too.
Awards. That was fun, and I'm glad. I really was glad she got to talk about mental health awareness. It's very important. Trying to segue into our next segment, Cora.
Yes.
You must have a lot to say this week.
Well,
she does.
I was thinking as we were preparing, I was like, okay, I can't just talk about how awesome and amazing and wonderful the defense is, because that's going to get old. Okay. So we're going to preface it with the fact that it was so fun to watch. It was so fun to I've been super excited about this defense and all of these little pieces that used to play with Brian Flores, or the people that we know are really good, and just to see how B-Flow would make them work together. And it was so fun. I want to say, I feel like almost every single person made a play, or almost every single person was doing something. The only person, and I said this to Dan, the only person I feel like who almost made a play so many times was Harrison Phillips. Because I feel like he was almost sacking Daniel Jones so many times. And I'm like, oh, so close. So it was just really nice to see that the excitement that I had wasn't unwarranted, and I'm not completely delusional in my love for the Vikings defense. But it was just really awesome. But that's not all I'm going to talk about. So one thing I'm going to talk about is the fact that we are on PPR. I was just looking up what our ranking for defenses. These were just the top few that I found. PPR has us ranked. Oh shoot, where did it go?
27.
27. And that is behind the Falcons defense. That's behind the Giants defense and behind the Packers defense.
How do you rank these things so early? You can't rank anybody until you see them play.
Then there's another one.
She's defensive about this whole thing.
I am very defensive, okay? There's another one that has us ranked at 13, which is okay, not bad, but really after that performance. So I am going to make a case that I hope all of the national outlets keep saying that the Vikings defense stinks, and keep saying that the Vikings defense is the 27th or the 13th. And I hope nobody puts them at top, so we can just be the underdogs every single week. We can come in and they can, overlook us, and we can come and just pound it into them and have all of our stars come in and just make them regret overlooking our defense.
I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Nope. You can't.
I do all the time. That's what I do. And say it's probably not a top 10 ranking, because
it doesn't have to be top 10. We shouldn't be 27th.
Yeah, but anyways, because it's an above average quarterback with above average receivers. And
they didn't score a single touchdown.
Right. But they shouldn't have.
They didn't.
Any of the top 10 defenses.
And they didn't.
I know. But there's still too many questions in the air about the Vikings.
In other words,
we'll get a real idea about how good they are this next weekend.
Yeah.
Because the Niners have all the weapons.
Yeah. It's going to be a chess match. I'm not thinking. like I said, I had this down as a loss. I hope it would be great for a win. And my delusional brain is like, if we show up and show out and we take it one game at a time, we could 100% win. But
I think the crowd's got to get into it.
The crowd has to be there. We can't have turnovers. I mean, the nice thing about this last game was that it was.
I don't think we have to get. We don't think we have to have no turnovers. We have to win the turnover battle.
Win the turnover battle. But the nice thing about this game was that we played a pretty bad team, and yet we still had a lot of mistakes that we could fix, and we still won by as much as we did. So
yeah, this was the equivalent of when a college team plays a tune-up game in the first couple weeks. You know, when you play like East Texas Teachers College for your first week.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it loses to Northern Illinois.
Yeah. That's kind of what this was for the Vikings. It was like, okay, we played an NFL team in theory, but they aren't a top 10 team. They're probably not even a top 20 team.
Yeah.
So it was a good start. We will get a better feel for how good this team is over the next few weeks.
Yeah,
we were 2-6 at home last year, and only one of those losses was by more than a touchdown. So
it was nice to blow a team out too.
Yeah,
so their stadium.
Yeah,
we need to figure out a way to win those less than a touchdown games at home, like we did a couple years ago. Because
that was what was it? That was KOC's first year. Where like. I mean, being a Vikings fan that year was so much fun, but like...
Yeah, except my doctor prescribing me nitro pills every week is not a good thing.
Yeah, that was the most insane year of all. So, but yeah, that's my little defense. That's me getting defensive.
And you did. You were very defensive.
Did.
You were very defensive.
Yep.
Damn.
That's right. I'll jump in on the Nixon.
I mean, rookie quarterbacks did not start off great.
Jaden Daniels didn't do bad.
He was pretty good. I watched that game. He was pretty good.
Out of all the rookie quarterbacks that started, he did the best.
Unlike someone else.
Yeah, unlike someone else. But what frustrates me is like, was it a great game? No. Was it a good game for a rookie? But it's still a matter of like, I get frustrated because everyone is saying, "Oh, look, he's trash. Bo Nix is trash. He's
living up to everything that we said."
Yeah, this is exactly how he said he would do. But he still threw for more yards than Caleb Williams. He rushed for more yards than Caleb Williams. The one thing I will say is I felt like he was trying to force his passes more. And I felt he got caught by the safeties staring his receivers down. And then a couple of his incomplete passes were him trying to look off the receiver and then snapping his head back real quick and throwing it. And that looked real chunky to me. But the last drive in the fourth quarter, he looked good. It looked like he was just playing like he did in college, where he's just playing at a fast pace on a 2-minute drill. And
his receivers didn't help him at all.
No, they didn't.
Like
they said they didn't miss any catches and miss any balls. There were easily 3 or 4 passes that
they could have caught. We did watch what we could have and the highlights with that one.
Listen, John Elway's first start in the NFL wasn't great either.
No. And the one thing I'm gonna is the receiver's gotta help him out.
Yeah.
Like he hit 2 guys in the chest and they dropped it.
I mean, when we were watching some of the highlights, or maybe I don't remember, but some of his passes, it looked like he was trying to thread the needle to a Justin Jefferson like receiver, and they are not Justin Jefferson like receivers. No. So like some of his passes were like would have been like a perfect pass into the hands of a really good receiver, but like he doesn't have really good receivers to catch those balls.
Yeah, rookies have to have somebody they can go to.
Yeah,
and he doesn't.
Yeah,
he has no one he can go to.
Well, and watching Sutton is like
not great.
They were like, "Oh, he's running full speed. You got to be able to lead your receiver properly." And it's like Sutton ran full speed for 2 steps and then slowed down, or he wasn't running full speed and then he turned it on and then the ball ends up behind him.
It was frustrating.
But there's always room for improvement. You can't judge a rookie quarterbacks after one game.
Yeah.
And I know we all want to. And I know we all want
to. Apparently, Caleb Williams is amazing.
Caleb Williams gets a pass.
He got interviewed after that game. I said, why is he getting interviewed? His special teams and defense won that game.
Yeah.
Why are they talking to Caleb Williams with his 93 passing yards? And his taking big losses on sacks because he thinks he can outrun NFL defenders.
That looked like a college sack. He ran 20 yards back.
And Nick's had a couple opportunities where like if he would have not thrown the ball when he did, or like thrown the ball where he did, or like gotten out of control, it would have been those, but he was very much in control.
Yeah. Like that was the one thing is like he had the 2
Sorry, am I making your segment? My bad.
He had 2 interceptions that were just bad. They were just bad passes, bad throws. That probably should have been 3 interceptions. But then there were many more incomplete passes where he threw it where only his receiver could catch it, and the receivers didn't catch it.
And that doesn't help. Because now the kid's throwing the ball and he's hoping he's wondering if his receiver's going to catch it, and you can't do that.
Right. Well, it's the only open spot I have to throw it to you is you have to dive down at your knees and catch it, and you're down there for a gain of 11. But that's the only spot you can catch it. But they don't catch it. So now I have to throw it in your chest. Well, you don't catch it there either.
Right. Where am I supposed to put it?
Right. And I think that's going to be a thing of if he's constantly worrying about like, where do I have to put this ball for you to catch it? Decreases accuracy, decreases performance. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think he's going to rein it in a little bit. If he fixes, I think the total, I think he had 3 egregiously bad passes and 2 of them were intercepted. If he fixes those 3 of 48 throws, I think he's totally fine shape.
Yeah, but we also know Sean Payton falls out of love with quarterbacks quickly, so we have to keep an eye on that too.
I mean, after the game, Payton was on his receivers. Payton was getting on his receivers of like, you got to help him out.
It pains me that you're listening to Sean Payton.
I'm not listening to Sean Payton. I'm listening to people say what Sean Payton said.
That's fair.
No one listens to Sean Payton.
Yeah.
No one really listens to Sean Payton, especially Vikings fans.
If anything, he's playing and I have the captions on.
There you go.
Well, there's always next game, right? There's definitely room for improvement, but I saw some good things out of Knicks.
Like I said, I mean, there were some passes where, like, if he would have had someone to catch that ball, people would be talking about how amazing he was.
Yeah. I'd say, wow, what a great. Maybe we were wrong about this kid.
They would be praising how, like, he put it where only his guy could get it. And yeah, we'll see. I still think he's way underrated, and everybody saying that they're reinforced on their analysis reinforces me. So
Dan is going to be a Bo Nix stan for this whole season.
His whole life.
Yeah, I'm committed to this now, baby. Let's go.
We're gonna have Alyssa Postal. She has like those figures, like stickers that you put on the wall.
She's got fat heads on the wall.
She has. Dan's gonna have one of Dan or a Bo.
Yeah, I'll get one of me too.
He's gonna have one of Bo Nix.
Catching a pass from Bo Nix.
Yeah.
A picture of Dan catching a pass from Bo.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You can have that done.
You can make that work.
What if I could actually catch a pass from Bo Nix? How cool would that be?
Make it happen.
It could happen.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
This is low key one of my favorite segments, and it shouldn't be, but it is.
I feel like every year from now on, we all have to pick. One person has to pick a player from a different team.
It's my segment.
Okay, fine. Maybe.
Wow, what a diva! We got a diva already. We're only five.
Diva.
I got.
I'm getting
defensive over my segment.
Are you going to ask to be traded
to Bo Nix for life?
I might. I don't know. If I get to catch a pass from him, yeah.
All right, Bo Nix, if you're listening.
We'll hit him up. Hit him up, Bo. All right, my turn. All right.
Take us back.
Let's go.
Valhalla back time.
Valhalla.
September 2nd, 1979. Vikings and the Niners. This game got off to a bad start for the Vikings. Ted Brown, running back for the Vikings, fumbled. San Francisco hits a 37-yard Ray Wersching field goal, and they take a 3-0 lead with 3:12 left in the half. Very low scoring. Wersching then hit from 22 yards out just before the half, and the Niners took a 6-0 lead into the locker room. Coming out in the second half, first drive, Wersching hits his third field goal of the game. This was 44 yards out, and it's already 9-0 Niners, and it's not looking good for the boys in purple. However, Tommy Kramer to Ahmad Rashad from 52 yards out. We got a little shimmy shake on this pitch and catch. Rashad just hips went one way, hips went the other way. He secured his way into the end zone. 9-7 after a 90-yard drive. Vikings are coming back. Vikings then will take the lead. 14-9, 32-yard pass. Tommy Kramer to Ahmad Rashad, who had a defender draped all over him, still made the catch. Vikings take the lead. Then in the fourth quarter, John Turner for the Vikings picked one off. Kramer to Rashad again to complete the hat trick. This one was 8 yards out. 21-9 lead Vikings with just over 9 minutes left in the game. It looks like we're going to cruise. Not so fast. Freddie Solomon would catch a Steve DeBerg pass and take it in from 44 yards out. The lead went to 21-16 with about 6 minutes left. Then Jimmy Edwards for the Vikings started off to look like he was going to have a nice return. Fumbles the kickoff. Niners take over on the Viking 36. Lenville Elliott from 4 yards out and the extra point put the Vikings behind 22-21 with 3:47 left in the game. Actually, the Vikings blocked the extra point here. And earlier in the game, they blocked a field goal.
Let's go.
And they blocked another extra point. They partially blocked it. They crept over the crossbar. 3 block kicks in this game.
Let's go.
Wow.
Then Tommy Kramer. Guess who again? Ahmad Rashad.
Woo!
From 25 yards out with 17 seconds to play. Now, I watched the highlights of this game again. Rashad definitely fumbled before he crossed the goal line, but there was no replay reviews on this.
Wonderful.
That's okay. Sammy White fell on it in the end zone. It would have been a Viking touchdown anyway, but Rashad gets his 4th touchdown of the game. Vikings make the extra point, take a 28-22 lead. And then to close it out with 2 seconds to go, Scott Studwell, one of my favorite linebackers from the 70s era, picks one off, and he was downfield, picks off the pass to clinch the 28-22 win for the Vikings.
Is he a stud? Well,
he will. Oh, very nicely done. Very nicely done.
That was good.
Mr. Kramer, 21 for 34, 297 yards, 4 touchdowns in the day. Ricky Young was our top running back for 43 yards on 6 carries. Ahmad Rashad was the star of the game. 7 grabs, 152 yards, and those 4 touchdowns. Why do I bring this game up? Not just that we're playing the Niners this week. This was the season opener at Metropolitan Stadium. it would be the last time the Vikings would win outdoors against the Niners at home.
Wow.
Because the Metrodome would open before they played them again. So that was the last time the Vikings beat the Niners outside at home. And that is why I chose this game.
Beautiful.
When did the Metrodome open?
82.
Oh, okay. So not long after.
My first ever Vikings game was obviously in the Metrodome against the Steelers.
Nice.
I don't remember when.
I never got to see the Metrodome.
No, Dan never has.
I toured the Dome years ago in the summer, though. And I was like the only person on the tour. So we got it was great because it got like the VIP treatment.
Nice.
We were not allowed to sit in the dugouts there, but we did get to see the locker. We didn't get to see the Viking locker room. We saw the Golden Gophers locker room. They wouldn't take us into the Viking locker room. It was very cool. And I have a piece of the Metrodome.
Ooh.
Cool.
I've got a piece of it. Yep,
I've been to both a Twins game and a Vikings game in the Metrodome.
Nice.
Cool.
Dan's like, this sounds miserable. To have both a football field and a baseball field.
No, because I think it gives a great perspective to how challenging baseball really is. Because if you look at a baseball field on a football field, then you can actually see the yardage of the throws they have to make.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Like an outfielder catches a fly ball in the outfield and throws a frozen rope to home. That's 80 yards. And they one hop the catcher.
Sometimes they nail the catcher and the fly too.
Yeah. And
that's really good ones.
And that's the ball only going up maybe 15 feet in the air.
However, it is a smaller ball and easier to grip and throw.
Right, but it's a matter of it's still an impressive feat to throw a small ball that far, that accurately.
Yes. See, you never know where this show is going to go.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about outfield arms in baseball.
How can we bring this back to baseball? It's running through Dan's brain.
Yeah.
Every single show.
And it's always baseball with me. It's football secondary.
Oh, Bo Nix plays baseball. That's what we're gonna figure out the next episode.
I'll look into it.
6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon. This show is 6 degrees of separation from baseball.
Yeah. Yes.
It's one from baseball. It's always one.
Maybe two.
Maybe two.
Do we want to do a Nostradamus question tonight, or do we want to not do that and just go?
Do we want to be here for another 20 minutes?
Yeah.
No, we can't do that.
If we talk about food again.
We
can't do that. We'll say that's something we save for when we need filler time.
Yeah.
And we don't need that tonight. Let's close it out. What are our thoughts? Give us some predictions for next Sunday's game against the much tougher opponent, the 49ers.
I think we're going to lose.
Uh-huh.
I hate to say that.
We all do, but
right. I mean, it sucks to lose, but it's managing expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be close. I think we're going to change. The lead is going to change maybe 2 or 3 times. And then eventually, I think the 49ers are just going to, they'll be ahead by a touchdown, and then they'll be ahead by a touchdown and a field goal kind of thing. So I think we're going to lose, but I think it's going to be a good game.
Okay. Dan, what do you got?
I think we'll lose.
This is so depressing to end on.
17-27.
17-27.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that is exactly what I said, but with actual numbers. So.
Yep.
I don't have a good enough gauge of the team yet because of who we played last week.
Yeah, that's fair.
Doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Random numbers, JP. Random numbers.
Right. I like the Niners 23-13.
10. It's 10. It's gonna be that we're gonna lose by 10.
Their defense is really good.
Yeah.
They do just enough on offense Because they put 32 points up last night, but they had 6 field goals.
Even if Christian McCaffrey doesn't play, I think it maybe will be like 1 score game.
I'm really excited to see how our offense does though, because this is going to be a lot better of a test to
that's true.
Can we manage the game? Can Darnold manage the game? He's probably gonna get a better look at being pressured from a better offensive or a better defensive line.
I think our offensive line is gonna. I think the key to the game is going to be Murphy. I think the best performance is going to be the offensive line.
I think our defense is going to give them a little more than they expect to have.
I think our defense will give them more than they expected, but after we did so well against the few star players on the Giants, and the fact that we have done pretty well against the 49ers defensive line in the past, like last year, I think the offensive line is probably going to be the star of the game. But the key player is still going to be Murphy.
Okay. I want to start something for games that we think we lose.
Okay.
If we think we're going to lose the game, what's our upset key? Who's the player that is the reason we upset them and we win?
Well, that's kind of the X factor, though.
Yeah.
You think
if our X factors do what they're supposed to, then that's how you key the upset.
That's fair.
Okay.
I would just like to throw out there that none of us have ever picked Justin Jefferson. And I think it's a bummer that he is so amazing, and yet all I do is talk about everyone else.
Well, that's good though, because it's kind of like a given. Okay, Justin Jefferson, we have.
Yeah.
He's one of the top receivers in the league. Everyone gets it. We don't need to harp on Justin Jefferson. Everybody else should get some love. We could always, we give JJ a whole segment, quite honestly.
We could.
But that's how good he is. But
in the jets of time. Jetting away.
You trying to come up with your segment for next year?
No.
No, we're trying to come up with a new segment.
Yeah. Jetting away. That's a good one. I like it.
Maybe taking off with the jet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so
not to end on a bummer.
Yeah, we kind of ended on a bummer, but maybe next week they won't be a bummer. Maybe the end will be better than a bummer, and we'll have something good to talk about.
I hope so.
This will be an hour-long therapy session next week as we prepare for the Texans.
I'm not going to be upset unless we get blown out.
Yeah, that's fair. If we lose, I won't be upset unless it's miserable.
If we lose by 10, and I expect some mistakes, but if we lose by 10, I'm not going to be upset by that. If we lose by more than 14, I'll be like, what are we doing? Like, we shut down. Because I think we're better than losing by 14 to the Niners.
I like a lot of the elements we have on this team. The key will be how quickly they can come together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the offense only put 21 points up last week.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Against the Giants. Now, the Giants are supposed to have a good defense, so maybe it was better than I think. And we did have...
the Giants' defense apparently is ranked higher than the Vikings' defense.
And we did have... There was a turnover that the interception that Darnold had. I think we were driving on that. So you score there. Let's see, even if it's a field goal, that's a 31-point game, which in the NFL, 30 points a game is solid.
Yeah.
So we'll see. This is going to be a big test, but maybe this will be that year again.
Think, everyone. National talking heads.
Maybe we'll have that year again where nobody predicts us to win anything and we just win and win and win. And before you know it, they're 12-5.
Heck yes.
And hosting a playoff game. Who knows?
Yep.
Okay, now I'm ready to run through a wall. Let's go.
Let's go. This was fun. It always is fun. Again,
Yes,
we
it
thank Lindsey
is.
for her time. I know how valuable that is. We wish we could have kept her for the whole show, but I'm just glad we got to have her, and I hope everybody enjoys.
Big fan of Lindsey over here.
She's great. She's awesome. If you don't follow her on Twitter, find her and follow her because she's very positive, very upbeat, and she's great. She's just fantastic. I got to know her a little bit through social media, and she's a true gem.
We have her Christmas card on our door.
That's cool. That's awesome.
I have her Christmas card that she sends out.
She's just a very sweet person, and we wish her all the good things.
Yes, we do.
10 years with the Vikings. That's amazing.
She's a homer for life.
Yeah.
And a good homer. We like having her on our squad. As we do, Harrison Phillips, by the way, who signed his contract extension today.
He did. 2 years, lots of millions of dollars.
Lots of guaranteed money, but another guy who's not just good on the field, but a good person off of it.
Good off the field, a good person. Those are my favorite on the Vikings.
It's the best thing about the Vikings. A lot of them are just good people.
Yeah. I've got an autographed Vikings truck in my office here that he signed when he visited the area.
Nice.
Kiddo met him. I didn't get to meet him. Kiddo got to meet him.
That's awesome.
She said, do you have anything for him to sign? I said, yeah, I do. And I never get anything normal signed. So I have a truck. It's actually still in the package, and he signed the package for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, you should see the stuff in this house. It's.
I wonder, can we get a screwdriver signed by him?
Why would you want to do that?
Because of Phillips head. Yeah, it's got to be a Phillips head, though.
I know.
Well, that's going to be our goal. So we are going to get a screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver.
Yeah.
Hey, actually, I know someone who knows him. Kylie's mom taught him in high school.
Oh, I wonder if we could get.
We might be able to get a screwdriver signed.
I bet. I wonder if we could give it to DePola and ask DePola to give it to him.
Yes.
All right, I need an update on this.
Okay, we're gonna see. We're gonna see if we can get this. We haven't.
And I want video of it happening, though.
Okay. Maybe we should put it out in the Twitter universe.
This
This is day one asking Harrison Phillips if he will sign our Phillips head screwdriver.
We have a Phillips head screwdriver we would like you to sign.
I bet he would just do it, too.
Yeah, probably. He's such a good guy.
On that note, I'm going to call it an evening. Thanks to everybody who gives us a listen, gives us a follow. Subscribe on our YouTube channel, 3 Blind Vikes.
3 Blind Vikes. Woo-hoo. Putting out the good juju in the world.
Always. We have a good time every week when we do this. We're not your average Vikings podcast.
No. Because he's got a nix of time.
Yep. And we're blind.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.